I have more than 50 autographed anime Funko Pops. So let's check it out.
Anyone can wear the mask.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to show you every single one of my signed anime Funko Pops. Now it is quite a few of them. We're primarily going to be talking about who signed them, what the quote says, and my experience meeting them. Before we get into the signatures, let me know in the comments, do you have any signed anime Funko Pops? And if so, which ones? So to kick things off, we'll start with my favorite anime, Dragon Ball, and I do have this Kid Goku signed by the voice actress Stephanie. And there at the bottom, she inscribed OG Gohan because not only did she voice Kid Goku, she actually voiced the younger Gohan before he was, adolescent and Ultimate Gohan. The next pop is this Bulma, and just like the previous, this one is signed by the OG voice actress Tiffany Vollmer, and on this one she wrote, "I'm too young and pretty to die in pink." Now I do have another Bulma, and this one signed by Monica Rial, the current voice actress of Bulma, and this one says, "I heart Vegeta sometimes." Next is Chi-Chi, and this one signed by Cynthia Crayons, and I remember the conversation with her, and she was asking me what I wanted Chi-Chi to say, and I told her, I said, Chi-Chi's always yelling at Goku, so she put Goku in all caps with the exclamation point as though Chi-Chi's yelling at Goku. Next, I do have this signed Super Saiyan God Goku by Sean Schemmel. And fun fact with Sean Schemmel, he actually does not put quotes on any of the Funko Pops he signs, but I do remember having such a great conversation with him. He's very pleasant and nice to talk to. And in that same time where I got Super Saiyan God signed, I also got this Super Saiyan Rose signed by Sean Schemmel because he voices Goku and Goku Black. And since I got Goku signed, I had to get the Prince of All Saiyans. So I got Christopher Sabat to sign the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta. And at the top, he wrote, "Welcome to Oblivion." And if you didn't know, in the Dragon Ball series, Christopher Sabat voices many different characters, including Piccolo. So he also signed this one. And fun fact, he told me when he was signing this, traditionally, when he does quotes on this specific Piccolo, he only writes like dots, dot, 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 because Piccolo's meditating and he doesn't say anything. However, on mine, he did wrote, "Call me my junior." Next is my personal favorite character in the entire Dragon Ball franchise, which is Frieza. This one I got signed by the original voice of Frieza, Linda Young. On this pop, she wrote, "That is Lord Frieza to you." She was very, very nice to talk to. And ironically, she sounded very close to the way Frieza sounds in real life too. And since Frieza's my favorite character, I couldn't only get one pop sign, so I did get her to sign two for me. And on this one, she wrote, "Stupid Saiyan Monkey." We all know how much Frieza hates those Saiyans. Then to follow in the villain sagas in the Dragon Ball Z franchise, I have this Perfect Cell sign, and it says, "At last I have achieved perfection." For the last villain in the Dragon Ball saga, I have this signed Kid Buu. Kid Buu is my personal favorite version of Majin Buu, and Josh Martin was a great person to talk to. We all know what Kid Buu obnoxious laugh sounds like, and I kid you not, he did that throughout the entire convention, and you could hear it across the convention hall. Then transitioning into Dragon Ball Super, I have this Super Saiyan Kefla sign. However, it's dual signed. So it's signed by the voice of Kale, which is Dawn M. Bennett, and the voice of Caulifla, which is Elizabeth Maxwell, because Kale and Caulifla did fuse to make Kefla. This is one of the few pops that I actually did not get signed in person. I actually ordered this one off of Whatnot. And to conclude the Dragon Ball series, I have this signed Jiren, and I got the quote on the top, "I seek that beyond strength," because we know how obsessed Jiren was with his strength. Then transitioning into a new anime and introducing the big three, we'll start with the One Piece collection, and we'll start with the King of Pirates himself, Goldie Roger. This one is signed by Eric Stewart, who did do a lot of the narrations at the beginning of the One Piece series. The quote I asked for at the top is, "I left everything in one place." And we can't have signed One Piece Funko Pops without having Luffy. This Luffy is signed by Erica Schroeder, who is the original voice of Luffy. And here at the bottom, she inscribed, "Gum Gum Rocket." I also have this Snake Man Luffy sign, which does say Gum Gum Red Hawk, and that is before the Gum Gum Red Hawk Funko Pop came out. But this one is signed by the current voice actress, Colleen Clickenbeard. Next in the One Piece series, I have this signed Nico Robin from Stephanie Young, and she did the whole bounty poster look on this one. Now, a lot of people do say that Stephanie looks like Nico Robin. Let me know in the comments, do you think that too? And we can't have Straw Hats without Nami. This one is signed by Lucy Christian, and she had basically a menu of quotes. So when you got up to the booth, you didn't have to think of a quote, and I actually really like that. So I did pick Love and Berries, and she wrote the berry sign over Nami's eyes since she's so obsessed with money. I also have this signed Samurai Brook by Ian Sinclair. I got to pick the quote on this one, and I chose, "I'll work myself to the bone." That was one of the first things Brook said when he joined Luffy's crew. And on the side here, he did the famous laugh, which Ian Sinclair, just like Josh Martin with Kid Buu, does his Brook laugh all the time. If you tell him a dad joke, he will do it. But be aware, he's heard a lot of dad jokes before. I also have this signed Boa Hancock, which does read Mrs. Monkey D. Luffy, because Boa is so obsessed with Luffy, it's hilarious. And on the side, I guess she couldn't help herself, but she also wrote, "I'm in love with Monkey D. Luffy." This pop specifically, I did not get to meet Lydia McKay in person. I ordered this one from Whatnot for my birthday back in 2024. I also have this Marco the Phoenix sign, and I love how it's signed in numerous different colors from the purple, blue, and the yellow. This quote I did pick out, and it says, "No matter how much you attack, I'll restore my flame." I also have a Captain from the Worst Generation sign, and that is Eustace Kidd, signed by Justin Cook. And on this one, I also got to pick the quote, which does say, "I'll rule over the new era." And my personal favorite villain in all of One Piece is Don Quixote do Flamingo. And I got this one signed and picked the quote on this one as well, which does say, "Whoever wins this war becomes justice." And lastly, for my One Piece signed Funko Pops, and probably my favorite out of all of them, is this signed Beast Form Yamato. I love the numerous different colors used on this pop. It literally has blue, purple, red, gold, and pink. But the quote does say, "I'm Yamato, son of Kaido." And to continue with the big three, we'll start with Naruto. I have this signed Naruto by Maylee Flanagan. And this one I didn't get a quote on, but she was such a sweet person to meet and talk to. Next, I got my personal favorite Naruto character, which is Sensei Kakashi. I picked a quote on this one, which does say, "I am the copy ninja." And here on the side, he even put the symbol for the Hidden Leaf Village. And last but not least, from the big three, we have Bleach. And it's actually my only signed Bleach Funko Pop. But of course, it's Ichigo. And the top does say Bankai. Now, I also have this signed Yugi Pop from Yu-Gi-Oh! This was one of my favorite anime growing up before I even realized it was realistically anime, as crazy as that may sound. But this one is signed by Dan, the King of Games Green. Now we move to another one of my favorite anime, which is Attack on Titan. And I have this Eren Yeager sign by Bryce Papenbrook, which does read, "Damn you, you traitors." If you haven't met Bryce Papenbrook, he's such a nice, high energy person. He is great to be around. He will always be willing to do one of his characters' voices. And I can't have Eren signed without his true best friend, Mikasa. Trina was lovely to meet, very personable, and I picked the quote on this one and the color. So I did pick this purple, and it says, "This world is cruel, yet it is also beautiful." I love that quote. I feel like it could be very relatable to a lot of different anime and situations in life. And transitioning into the new gen anime, we'll start with Jujutsu Kaisen and my favorite character, Satoru Gojo. Kaiji Tang was so nice to talk to, and I picked a quote myself, which does say, "Domain expansion, unlimited void." When I talked to him, he was asking me if I read manga, and I told him I really hadn't dove into the realm of manga. but he suggested cover to cover that Berserk was a great manga to read. Let me know, have any of you read Berserk? Next is our main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji Itadori, signed by Ida MacArthur, and I picked the quote which is literally my all-time favorite quote in all of Jujutsu Kaisen, which does say, "I'm into girls like Jennifer Lawrence. Trust me, if you know, you know." Then I do have Megami signed here. Picked a quote on this one as well that says, "Domain expansion Chimera Shadow Garden." I love getting pop signed that quotes a lot of their famous moves, attacks, what have you. It's one of my favorite things to ask for when getting pop signed, specifically in anime. And with that being said, next up is Nobara. This quote is in pink and blue, which I really like the two-tone look here. And it does say straw doll technique resonance. Not only is the quote a technique like I just mentioned, it also goes hand in hand with the specific pop that I got signed, which I thought was great. And we can't talk about Jujutsu Kaisen without having the king of curses himself, Sukuna. And I love the handwriting on this one. Ray Chase does a great job at signing, and I think his penmanship is almost like calligraphy. I picked a quote on this one, and it does say, "The boughs that hang lowest bear most." And moving into our next new gen anime, we do have Demon Slayer, starting with Nezuko here, signed by Abby Trott. I didn't get a quote on this one, mostly because Nezuko didn't really talk, especially at the time I got this one signed, if you know what I mean. So it wasn't many quotes that really came to mind that I would have wanted signed on this. And I couldn't have a signed Nezuko without her brother here, Tanjiro. Zach Aguilar was such a pleasant person to talk to. He was very funny, very nice, and he asked me the quote I wanted, and he mentioned, normally on this pop, he will put Hinokami Kagura, and I thought, that'd be great, but the box already says that, and I feel like he probably puts that realistically on a lot of these specific Tanjiro Funko Pops. So I did ask him to inscribe Set Your Heart Ablaze. And speaking of setting your heart ablaze, I also have this signed Rengoku Funko Pop that also says Set Your Heart Ablaze. You see what I did there? Next in the Demon Slayer wave, I have my favorite character, Inosuke, signed, also by Bryce Papenbrook, which does say fight me, and I love the pink. He said he normally signs in either pink or blue specifically for this pop, and I chose pink because it matched Inosuke's little pig nose. Next in the Demon Slayer line, I do have another Hashira sign, which is Mitsuri. When I met the voice actress, I realistically didn't know what quote I wanted, so I allowed her to pick it, and she did pick Love Breathing Third Form, Cat Love Shower. And I really like it, and again, the numerous colors, the pink, the white, and green here, make the pop signature really stand out, and it coordinates with the character. And last in the Demon Slayer line, I do have this signed Kano. When I met the voice actress, similar to the voice actress of Nami, she had kind of like this menu of quotes that you could pick from. And the one that stood out for me was, "It's the heart that draws people." I thought it was so relatable and so very cute, especially for Kano's character. And for our next new gen anime and the last anime for this video, it will be My Hero Academia, starting with Izuku Midoriya. I got this one signed by Justin Briner, and I couldn't think of any quote better than "Go Beyond plus Ultra." So I also have this Aries sign, and at the time of meeting the voice actress Emily, I really didn't have a quote in mind, so I let her pick, and she chose the quote, "How do you smile again?" Next, I have this signed Shoto Todoroki Funko Pop. This one, I did pick the quote, which was Flash Freeze Heat Wave. Again, picking those attacks and techniques for a lot of these characters, and I like how it's written in the white and red to kind of go with that hot and cold vibe of Shoto Todoroki. Next is one of my favorite characters in the My Hero Academia franchise, Tokoyami. When I met Josh Grell, I knew exactly what I wanted the quote to be, and thankfully he had a purple marker, so he also wrote it in purple, which is Dark Shadow, Dark Fallen Angel. Now, I got this Ryukyu signed in a very, very unique experience. So I have never met Caitlin Barr in person. I was actually on Whatnot one day, and the specific seller and the stream that I was on, Caitlin Barr was there with them doing a private signing. So I did get to interact through the Whatnot app with Caitlin Barr. So I picked the quote myself in that aspect. But again, I haven't met her in person. But I did choose the quote, "The Ryukyu agency will take care of this villain." And speaking of Ryukyu, I have all of the students that she trained signed as well, starting with this Nejire Hado. When I met Lindsay Seidel, it was a bit unfortunate because her voice was hoarse, and Nejire Hado has one of the best voices to me in all of My Hero Academia. So I didn't really get to have some of the conversations that I wanted, but I will say she was still very, very nice. She let me pick the quote, let me pick the pen color, and she had a large book of pen colors, at least 60 different colors. The quote that I picked for this one is, "Regretting something and getting frowny doesn't change things." Next in the My Hero Academia line is Ochako Uraraka. This is actually the exact same voice actress as Nami from One Piece. This time, I did not pick the quote when I was there in person with Lucy Christian. I let her pick this one, and she said her favorite quote is, "There's no future except the one you create." And I personally love that. Lucy said this quote stood out to her because when they were actually doing a lot of the recording for that specific season where Ochako said it, it was during the pandemic and things were hard. And at that time, the future seemed kind of dim. So for Ochako to say, "There's no future except the one you create," it stuck with Lucy. And when she told me that story, I couldn't do any other quote. I also have this Tsuyu Asui signed by Monica Rial, the same voice actress as the current voice of Bulma in the Dragon Ball series. Now, we know Tsuyu doesn't like to be called Tsuyu Asui. She will always tell people to just call her Sue. And that's exactly what I asked Monica to write. "Just call me Sue. Ribbit." Now, the only Chase Funko Pop that I have signed in my entire anime collection is this Tomura Shigaraki, and Eric Vell was nice enough to also let me pick the quote on this one, and I couldn't go with anything else other than "Violence only breeds more violence." Tomura Shigaraki is probably my favorite character in the entire My Hero Academia franchise. As crazy as that sounds, I love his more misunderstood backstory where he wasn't really born a villain. He was created into a villain. Now, the last Funko Pop that I have signed in my entire anime collection is this Mount Lady. Jamie did not want to write anything else except for "This is my debut on this Funko Pop," and we really discussed why. She told me at the time when I got this, out of all the characters that she voices in anime, Mount Lady is the only character that even has a Funko Pop. So she feels like not only is it her debut as far as being Mount Lady, but it's her debut into the Funko Pop world. And I really love that story for her. So I didn't want her to write anything else. Then here on the side in purple, she did put Money Shot, because we know Mount Lady loves cameras. Whew. Well, that was 51 signed anime Funko Pops, my entire anime Funko Pop collection. This year in 2025, there are 3 anime Funko Pops specifically that I want signed. One being Chainsaw Man by the voice actor Ryan Colt Levy. The second one, I really want to get Gohan B signed, the Funko Shop exclusive where he is using Special Beam Cannon by Kyle Herbert. And the third anime Funko Pop I want signed this year is Shinobu from Demon Slayer, who's voiced by Erica Harlacher. Stay with me, stay tuned this year as I go to different conventions to get more Funko Pop signed. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. And until next time, I'm out of here, y'all.